Is direct traffic getting you down? I know recently there's been a lot of talk about how ITP and other privacy updates are really cutting back on the type of data that we can see. And we can really see the impacts on this in digital advertising and a lot of other places. However, when you see a lot of direct traffic on your site, it doesn't mean that it's a complete black hole where you can't see at least some idea of where that traffic is coming from or why you're getting so much direct traffic. So generally when I have a client who comes to me and says they have a lot of direct traffic and they want to know what the deal is, there's a few different things that I can check to see if there's something that can be not necessarily done about it, but something where we can say, okay, this percent of it is probably because of this issue and this percent is from this. And there are some things that you can do depending on what the result of this direct traffic is that will reduce that number. All right, so the first thing is whenever I see this number being so high, which right now I'm using the Google Analytics demo account, so their traffic is technically fake, which is why it's so high, but let's pretend that's not the case. One thing that I want to see is, does this seem like a bot traffic? And when you're looking at the overall bounce rate, that's not going to be immediately apparent, but what I'm going to want to see is this broken down into countries. And why I want to do that is because sometimes you can see by looking at country and then the bounce rates, whether there's some suspicious traffic coming from a country that isn't one of your business's focuses and has a bounce rate of something like 99% and a session duration of like less than a second. That generally means that that's bot traffic coming from that country. So that's something that you can easily filter out and ignore in the future. So that's one solution. The other thing that I want to take a look at to understand where this traffic is coming from and what sort of traffic it is to look into what sort of devices my customers are coming from and also browsers. There are some browsers that are more likely to have some tracking blocking on them. And then there's also obviously like the recent iOS updates where if you have a really high percentage of mobile users, you can expect that you're going to see a lot less tracking from now on. So the two places that you can check that is either by creating a segment of direct traffic and using that. You can also break it down in the same way I just did here by device. And if you do the first option, you'd be adding the segment here. And then you're going to be looking at mobile, but then go to overview to see the breakdown of devices by tablet, desktop, and mobile. Devices will give you the actual devices, which isn't as helpful. It's sort of helpful. And then the same thing here with technology. Browser and OS is what's going to show you what sort of browsers people are on, which once again is going to be an indicator. You can take all that information and kind of add it up and see, okay, I have a decent amount of things that are coming from these issues, and start putting into place a plan of how you're going to capture more first-party data.